Okay, I think we're ready to start the bowl gouge grinding.
We're going to start with the bowl gouge. I know there was a tremendous interest by many of you who are beginning turners about the bowl gouge. For me, it is my tool of choice. I brought 6 with me today, bowl gouges. I left some of them at home. The entire hat was done with 3 different bowl gouges. The bowl gouge consists obviously of a handle. Can you all hear me okay?
Yeah.
So we have a wood handle on this one. These are aluminum handles. These are by Doug Thompson. You have a ferrule. These run in about 2 inches, 3 inches. There's high-speed steel. There are some out there that are special steel, okay? Their selling points, I don't know that there's a lot of difference. This particular piece is 2 years old. This is a Lyle Jameson. It is 1 year old. I sharpen continuously. We also have now, and because there's a good group of beginner, we've got the shaft. This is the flute, okay? The flute is important because it helps evacuate the shavings. It creates your cutting edge. This happens to be a Irish grind, a fingernail grind. It's called different things. This is a traditional grind. I don't know, maybe Chris would move in on these grinds.
Sure.
And take a look at them. I have that's traditional. I have one more traditional, I think. Yes. Now by that, I mean, as you look at the side of this, from this point to the very tip, it's fairly steep. It gives me a shorter cutting area from this point to here. The Irish grind is going to take me much longer cutting edge. I've probably tripled my grinding edge. I can actually cut along that entire grind, and I can bring out a 1/2 inch shavings. And you can really do that when you hog. If you're hogging the outside of a piece or a vase, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it really is. I switched to this after I first got started. If you notice, there's no corner here. On the traditional grind, there is a corner. And this will give you a catch right there. Okay. And when it catches, it's a serious catch. So when I first started, and it was with a traditional, I had some catches. And they're serious catches because of that edge. Once I took that off, it allowed me the freedom to start to get a real feel for the bowl gouge and really enjoy the bowl gouge. These are all cut at 50 degrees. Now that's 50 degrees. If I was running straight up, the 50 degrees is this angle here, okay? Through here. Can you see it now? Whoops, sorry. This is the 50 degrees. Now if you look, Stuart Patty does a tremendous job on tool presentation and tools in themselves. These are going to come in 3/8, which this is a 3/8. It's going to come in a 1/2, and it's going to come in a 5/8. Yeah?
What's the angle on your Irish grind at the end?
Still 50 degrees.
Still 50.
Still 50. All I've changed is I've brought the cutting edge further down. I just, when you sharpen the tool, and Ted, I don't want to pick on you, but can I have your bowl gouge?
Sure. Have both of them and fix them up.
You're terrible.
Oh, yes, they are terrible. I won't confuse them with mine. If you look at my Irish grind here, it's straight and flat from here to here. I don't know, can you see it? Okay, see it, there it is, all right? Fairly flat. It can be convex. It cannot be concave. If it's concave and I want to put a finished cut on, and my hands are way down, I'm going to have a point here hitting and a point out here hitting, and I won't be able to get that finished cut, okay? And Ted's,
Can that be concave?
yes. This is Ted's, okay? Now that looks like a hook jaw off of a running salmon, okay? So if I was to take this edge and try and cut with it, see the curve in it?
There you go.
Okay? That's just a, Ted, I can't believe you can turn with this.
Well, I have an old bar at home and I like it, I don't care about a gouge, I've never been able.
Well, he'll never be able to use this tool, okay?
Not that way, no.
No, not that way, and that's really the key to it. And he's probably at 50 degrees, and we will straighten that out. But this is going to be really short when we're done. Yeah.
How do you fix it?
You're going to lay it against the grinder, get it flat, okay, and then start over. And if you look,
What are you gonna get flat?
well, I want this edge to be flat, my cutting edge, right here. Okay. See, he's got one side that's flat. It's not bad. But he's got this side that's a hook joint.
He's gonna lay it flute down.
I'm going to lay it flute down flat, and then flatten
You'll
this.
show him
Yeah.
on the grind, when he starts turning.
Yeah.
Or grinding.
This is the biggest mistake, and honestly, when you start with this, you know, I said 50 degrees. Okay, this tells me my 50 degrees. This is going to go in the slot. I'll lay this here, and when it hits 2 points, I'm at 50 degrees. Now, you can do this anywhere from 45 to 60 degrees. It will change the nose of the heel of the grind, okay? Now looking at this, go ahead and zoom in. You can see I've got a couple grinds on the heel. Because when you're going down into a bowl like that walnut natural edge, as you come down into the bowl, that is going to hit. Your heel is going to hit and not allow you to get a smooth transition. So you tend to take the heel off. Some of mine are heel off, some are not. This particular tool I've had for years. I don't use it much. It's a 60-degree angle, traditional grind, and it works great in the bottom of a bowl. Now these are all U-shaped. You can get V-shaped. I don't own a V-shaped. I've used them. I find them to be a challenge to use. I just love my bowl gouges, and they're all U-shaped. The reason for the lathe here, and I'm not going to turn anything today, is the height of the lathe. The height of the lathe determines how I hold my bowl gouge, because it's going to be against my hip. I'm going to start with my left foot forward, and I'm going to have this just slightly above center. And that's for a spindle turning, going down. If I'm going to go right to left, I'm going to change my flute angle. My flute angle now is about 10 o'clock. Imagine a clock at the end of your cutter. This is noon, okay? Flute straight up and down, okay? Now, if I tip it, what you want to do is cut it at a 45-degree angle. You've got a piece of wood running spindle, running around. You want to be at a 45-degree angle. It makes a nice smooth cut. If I go in this way at noon, I'm going to be catchy. I'm going to pick up way too much of a cut on the very end of this bowl gouge. If I'm going left to right, I'm going to be at around 2 o'clock. And once you learn that, it's easy. Don't look at it, what a lot of people want to do is put a ruler on here and say that's 45 degrees. That's just hard to imagine. But 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock is real easy to imagine and see and visualize. And once you get that down, it's just unbelievable. Now, if I'm going to round the bottom, I'm going to be at a 45. I'm going to start out here. I'm going to take the bottom off. Again at 45 degrees. If I get this rolled over too far and close my flute, it's a catch. It's going to catch on the bottom. Even with the Irish grind, it will do the same thing. And when you cut, you're only going to cut with the smallest portion. Can I have your pen again? Thank you, Chuck. I'm only going to cut with this very small portion the majority of the time, less than a 1/16 of an inch, okay? Now, if I'm really hogging and I've got a 25-inch log on there and I want to make a vase, I'm going to open this up a little and I'm going to use the whole cutting edge because I can really take it down in an hour. I can have a shape on a 25-inch vase. But again, it's the angle of your cut. And if the angle's not right, it's going to hit and it's going to fall down. That's your catch. And next meeting, I think we're going to set up all 5 lathes, 6 lathes, and we're actually going to make shavings. Each one of you who wants trained on a bowl gouge will get trained on it. Now this is for spindle turning. We're going left to right, right to left, 10 and 2. Just remember that. It's just that easy. Now when we're going to do a bowl, we're going to start to rub the bevel. Now rubbing the bevel is when I've got a piece of wood and it's here, I'm going to take the heel and if I set it right against the spindle, it won't cut. But all I have to do is lift my right hand up ever so slightly, lean to the right, and I can go all the way down the piece. And I'll get a nice even cut. If I don't get an even cut, I've made 2 mistakes. The lathe is running too slow or my feed is too fast. To resolve it, you either move your hand faster, speed up the lathe, or the combination of the two. And you won't have the threaded look going down your spindle or your hollow form. Question? It's really that basic on spindle side turning. Now obviously I'm not turning a spindle, I'm turning a hollow form.
I got a question, and this is from my own, what limited tools I have. I have a couple of spindle gouges that I occasionally use across the bottom of a bowl and so on. What's the advantage of a bowl gouge in that situation?
Spindle gouge, what size are you using?
Probably a 3/4 inch line.
Okay. You can use almost any tool going across the bottom. You can take a flat scraper and do the bottom. Tom did a demo on the scraper. I lived in fear of the thing. I got a 1-incher, a real heavy duty. I think what happens, once you learn the bowl gouge and you learn the technique and the angles, the other tools come easier. Okay? You can use any tool you're successful with, but this is my go-to tool.
When you do that,
It changes my angles a lot.
Yes.
So, yeah, if you've got a fairly steep angle, if this is the shaft, then you can ride the bevel up on the bottom of the bowl. But if you're down in here, then
When you go in to hollow in a bowl, to ride the bevel, your bowl's going to be sticking out here like this, okay? And when you first decide to go in, you can't ride the bevel, okay? There's nothing to ride on. You're in air. Follow me? Now, what happens if you're too open when you start, it's going to skate on you. And we've all had them skate. So what you do is you bring it back across like this, and you close your flute. And you're going to push against it, and you'll just barely start your cut. It won't skate. Then you open your flute and finish your cut. And you will take and follow and ride the bevel all the way through. bevel rubbing is just almost a must. When you get out in freehand, you're just kind of all over the place. Yeah, Terry?
What's the difference between the spindle gouge and the bowl gouge then?
The grind, the shape, spindle gouge, you know, I use a shallow spindle gouge. I've been doing some multi-axis turning, so I'll use that.
The spindle gouge usually shallower?
Shallower, it's a shallower U. These are deep, okay, these are, you know, 3/8 of an inch deep if you're really into a 5/8 bowl gouge. Yeah, George?
The really basic difference is how stiff the gouge is. You got more mass in your bowl gouge.
In the bowl gouge,
And you can hang it over your tool rest farther.
yeah,
And,
you can. And
without having a big problem. And that's really the basic difference.
yeah, the spindle gouges are terribly shallow at times. I have 3 different size handles here. That's a 20-incher and a 16-incher, and this is another 16. This 20 is, I'm going to use again on a big log, a 20-incher, 25-incher. It cuts down on the vibration. It is lead filled. We can pass that one around. It cuts back on the hand fatigue when you're using a heavy one, but then you can only go so far with that on the hat, and then I go back to the traditional grind and the lightweight, because I'm now trying to get down to less than a 1/16 of an inch, and I have to have more feel and more control. And the weight difference in these is just huge.
These are nice because you can set them on the ways of your lathe and they don't roll off too.
No, but they vibrate off, if there's any vibration. And when that one vibrates off, you know it hit the floor. Yeah. These are aluminum handles. He does emboss your name on these. These are very nice, and I see online more and more people using Doug Thompson tools. They hold up well. I've been very pleased. This one actually has a Sorby bar in it.
Hey Rod,
Yeah.
have you tried Johannes Michelson's grind inside of Moya?
Yes.
And?
Basically, it is very similar, I believe, to the heavyweight one and this one. If you look at the grind on that one, Johannes has a unique way of grinding, and he takes the heel off. Now, he has an offset platform. He's got 3 holes this way, 2 holes this way, and you start with the left, you go across, you start on the right, and you come back the other way. Then you move forward, take the heel off, and you move forward again and take more heel off. Now, I didn't take a lot of heel off of these. I don't turn bowls. I guess if I turn more bowls, I probably would take the heel off. There's another way of doing it, and I can show you that. I didn't bring a rubber band. I know that sounds crazy to have a rubber band. Now, talk about sharpening. When we sharpen, this control here controls the tip of the wing. And this is set for a longer wing. And if you change it, it will do the traditional grind like this. Okay? So you change this arm to make the changes in the sweep of your grind. Yes, Don?
Which way do you move it to get more of a traditional versus the...
Let me show you if I can.
Move it steeper.
Yeah, it's steeper. Now, we have a block. Now, what this block does for you is give you consistency so that every time you stick this in, it's exactly in the same place, okay? Which now I know I'm at 50 degrees here, I'm going to be 50 degrees on my grind. I'll roll it over, and this looks like it's set for more of a traditional, okay? So that'll give me the traditional. Now if I want to change that, you go to here, and I'm going at real extreme, it will take the wing way back. Meaning I'm grinding from this point back to here. That's how you get your wing change, yeah, John.
If you move the guide below, you can change the angle
Yes.
on the front.
Yes. Now, if I want to change to a 35 degree, and Chris, maybe carry that around
Yeah,
here.
I was thinking that when you started.
So these are gauges you can buy. This is not a complete set. This is 50, 45, and 35. And you can get these, and you slide this in, the 2 points touch. I'm locked in at 35 degrees, okay? I'm not guessing. It used to be I had a mark out here. Okay, and we've all marked these, and then you forget what's that mark for. These are not that expensive. So now, all of a sudden, I have changed my grind, and you can see how much higher my tool is. So that's gonna bring it back down steeper. Then you don't have to grind the heel off. Now with Johannes, he ground the heel off by hand. So what I've done is, I'm gonna go back to 50 degrees. Now we're there. And if I can get one of my bowl gouges back. Oh wait, I've got one. Never mind. When you go to another gentleman's shop, this and this are the same as borrowing his toothbrush. Yeah. Okay? I'm serious. I mean, I've seen guys almost throw people out of their shop for changing these. And it's, once you buy these gauges, it's not nearly as big a deal. I was gonna bring mine this morning and didn't. See if I can find the right setup. I gotta get the other one. That one's too short. Now in this case, this has gotten so short that it won't slide into here and allow me to get this on. So I've even cheated more and ground this back.
I've done the
Okay,
same
so I've got
thing.
flat spot. Yeah, I mean, you want to get as much out of a tool as you can, even though I've got 7 or 8 of these.
There's some that are just more comfortable for you.
Yeah.
I don't think you've locked your 2-inch in.
No, I didn't, and I need to, I want to double check my 50. I think you can pick any ankle between 35 and 60. And the real key isn't the angle, the key is consistency. That was pretty close just on a guess. Okay, this is a low-speed grinder. I'm at 120 grit. The angle's off. Now, I can tell the angle's off. Where's Chris? There we go. I don't know if you can see it. I've just ground the very tip. So I'm at the wrong angle. So I'm gonna send this back just a little. Generally, if you mark these with a black felt tip, you can see where you've started to grind. And when you start, turn your grinder off. Oh, that's pretty good. So I'm now going to take this, I'm going to hold here on top because this wants to float around on you. And I'm going to roll it over and go all the way over. Now this is a fingernail grind. And I'm going to come back to the other side. I'm going to do the same. Now, to do what Hannes did, some of you paid $165 for that system. So we're going to do the same thing here. I'm now not going to set it against the end. I'm going to set it halfway. And I'm going to take the heel off.
Did you make a divot there? How are you holding it halfway? Do you have a divot or something?
No, just with my hand.
Just watching it.
Now, as I want to take one more heel off because I want to bring it back some. I'll move right out to the end. And this is where I have a rubber band. It keeps me from sliding off, okay? Because this, as it grinds, wants to pull you out. So I'm going to come way out. and there it is.
And when you take those heels off, you're not running all the way out to the end.
No, no. And that should have a pretty good edge on it. The key to sharpening is consistency, okay? It's the 50 degrees or the 40 degrees or whatever you pick, you want to be consistent because it will change things drastically.
Hey Ron, I used just a little small block of wood, so you wouldn't have to freehand that in the middle.
In the middle,
So it does kind of help.
It does. It does. Now there's another way to sharpen it, and I noticed it's marked on here. There's a 90 degree here with a line in the center, okay? So you can sharpen, and I know I can't hurt this, Ted.
No.
So you're going to come across here and take this off. So all of a sudden part of the fish hook is gone, and I'm going to rotate around. Whew, nice.
Got some work to do.
Yeah. And I didn't help with this. At East Kentwood High School, when we were there, we had tremendous problems with the kids in the sharpening. And there were a lot of tools there that were almost not salvageable.
I brought one of my first ones into Woodcraft to have them fix it. So I had butchered it up so badly.
And they were able to fix it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's only $4 a tool to sharpen there. That might be worthwhile.
Now you're going to get an Irish grind, okay, Ted?
Jessica doesn't have to pay for it.
Now I don't know if you can see the difference in the height of these.
There it goes.
You know, it's starting to shape up. But he's got one side totally different from the other. So if he was going left to right, right to left, he would have to change the way he cuts if he was able to cut. Now Ralph Lindholm, Mr. Bowl, would also touch these up with a diamond file, a little one.
On the inside? Hard?
On the outside.
Outside.
Yeah, he just does the outside. Now I could probably even cut with this one.
Hey, Ron, when I sharpen my chainsaw, I have a bias, so after I've done it a couple times, I start to.
It's concave.
Because I'm not even left or right sharpen. You have the same problem with, here, do you find that you do one side differently than the other?
Yeah, generally, you know, if you're right-handed, predominantly right-handed, my right side is probably a better grind than my left side. And you're also going to find if you're right-handed and you're moving much of the time left to right, you're going to use this cutting edge more than the other cutting edge. Now, I like to go both directions, both-handed. I have a Powermatic, which has a fairly large head on it, so I do switch hands. Most of us do not switch, and you're wearing down the one side more than the other. So you're grinding it more, and probably not as consistent. This still needs work, but here, Ted, see if that looks better.
Doesn't look worse, I can tell you.
No, it doesn't.
It's much better.
Yeah, be careful, it's hot. I do not keep water by my grinding station.
No.
When you go from extreme hot, which that one was pretty hot, to cold, it changes the molecular structure of the steel, and your edge won't last as long.
High-speed steel.
You'll
High
lose,
speed steel,
you'll
yeah.
lose the temper.
Yeah, you lose the temper after a while. Yeah, Adam, is it?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Do you ever use, like a diamond hone
Yes.
on the outside edges in between grindings?
Yes, I keep a diamond hone on my lathe. It's there with magnets. I got magnets everywhere on my lathe. So I do use that. I have some of the very small ones I use. They're usually 300 grit. I also bought the lapping solution and James Berry's trend sharpening. So I can sharpen with that, and I also sharpen down my carbides with that.
Do you?
Yeah, it's a great system, and I think it's all in the lapping solution. Questions, comments, yeah, George?
One thing that, at least I didn't hear you cover too much, is the flute itself,
Yes,
the shape of it.
yes.
The U-shaped flute is probably gonna give you less trouble in sharpening. If you get a V-shape or a modified U, you're gonna have trouble with that top corner on your wing.
What happens with the deep V, and I don't own a deep V, I've cut with them, they're tougher to sharpen. Ted's, if you notice, before I started on, almost come to a point. And if you're not careful with the deep V, you get a point out here on your cutting edge. Anytime you got a point or a corner, it's a catch, or catch possibility.
But you also get a little hook up at the top edge of your wing.
Yeah, yeah. And this one has a different shape to it, okay? Parabolic curve inside the flute, which makes the shavings go a certain direction. It's a great sales point. It's smoke and mirrors. I think most of them, if you use just the U shape, especially as a beginner, you'll be much more successful. Okay, I did drink the Kool-Aid, so I bought this. I think it's just another pole gouge. Next meeting, we set up the lathe. We will go through the different cuts. And there are about 3 or 4 basic cuts you'll make. The key is the 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock.
I have one more question. I noticed with the gouges that you sent around, you have pretty identical grind on most of them. What is in your experience, what is your need for so many different tools with such a similar grind on it?
There are times when I really want to turn, and I don't do production work, but it feels like production. I will sharpen 5 or 6 of these. They will lay on the bench next to me. I will turn and turn and turn until all 5 of them are used up.
Okay.
Then I sharpen all 5. I don't like running back and forth, So, it saves time. And honestly, I have sponsors, so a lot of my tools I don't pay for, or whatever I pay is next to nothing. So yeah, that's why I have so many. Good question, but I just like sharpened tools, and when one's gone, boy, I move on to the next one. Yeah, John?
You mentioned cutting up toward the end of the wing. How far up? I tend to cut within 1/4 of an inch of the tip most of the time.
Oh, I can do a 3/4 inch shaving.
Got a good lathe. I got a little jet.
I got 35/20. Now, on a lathe this side, no, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna ruin the cell.
Okay.
And I only do that when I've really got a big log and I'm in a hurry. Okay, Hans did that on the hat. I mean, he can knock one of those out in about 2.5 hours, okay? So, I mean, when he starts hogging wood to shave, he's really hogging wood. But then when it comes to doing the brim and the thinness, I go to my lightweight 3/8 inch bowl gouge with the traditional grind. Find it easy? Tom?
You had a 120 grit on the wheel, stone wheel. Is that what you're recommending?
No.
What do you recommend?
I'm using CBN 300.
300s?
I mean, if a guy's selling you bowl gouges, he'd like to have you use 80 grit.
Yeah.
Let's face it, you're gonna chew the thing up in a hurry. And all you're doing when you're, other than what I hate to do with Ted, you're just putting an edge on it.
You're just dusting up what you had.
That's it. You're just putting an edge on it. So no, I've got I guess mine's a 220 CBN. I'd like to go to a 400 CBN. I mean, you're really not taking anything off. And you should never have to do what I had to do to kids once you got the grind down. You're just putting an edge on it. That's why a lot of people use a diamond hone. Okay, but then again, you're standing there honing this thing. That's why I'll do 5 of these and just keep moving.
One thing you didn't mention is how much pressure you're putting on the wheel.
Oh, on the wheel?
Yeah, when you're going.
Real light. I mean, you're not trying to bury it in, you're just trying to run it around the edges and hone the edges.
Just redust it up.
Yeah, it's,
Enough pressure so it doesn't vibrate.
yeah, you're just enough pressure so it doesn't move around on you. They do tend to move fairly easy.
Little bumps sometimes.
Well, and I don't know if,
Real light.
you know, this might need dressed, this wheel. As we use our wheels, you have to dress them. If you don't, especially when you're sharpening the toe, you're taking and concaving your wheel. So you gotta dress your wheel and flatten your wheel so that when you do your wings, you're coming across flat. Otherwise, you got a point here and a point here because of your grinding is not flat.
Especially those white wheels, they're very soft.
Yeah. And the AAW does recommend, if you're using this type of wheel, you wear your face shield. Because if you make a little bit of a mistake, these stones tend to come out. I know I was reprimanded at the AAW for it. Other questions? Yes.
One thing, the angle, if you know, you're at 50 degrees, this is the top of your gouge. You know, you're running everything about right about 50 degrees. I have something like kick maybe about 80, which I use down just as I get to the bottom of the bowl.
Yes.
So I can still ride the bevel.
Yes.
And so that's just another subtle difference.
This
and
is,
I don't use, I mean, I still got a sweep back,
Yeah.
although I don't really need it, what you
yeah,
got there.
this is at 60, and that's what I would use in the bottom of a bowl, where I couldn't put maybe a scraper in. I don't, did we pass this around? This is a traditional grind at 60 degrees. You know, to be honest with you, you don't have to get this technical to do this work. Because some of us, when it gets as technical as what Charles is doing here, I don't want to do that kind of work. You know, I can figure out the angles and stuff, but when it comes to grinding, it's about consistency. And if you've got a tool that's working, line up every other tool that is a bowl gouge the same way. It just will make things so much easier. More questions?
How many people had brought
Yeah.
brought a gouge that they'd like to have cleaned up?
Ted's still got another one.
Yeah, I got one there, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you got two to go. I didn't finish. Tom?
Hold on
I
a
mentioned
minute.
a tip or two.
Yeah.
And, you know, talking about the not putting a lot of pressure on there, let me just grab one. If you watch, when you're grinding and watch in that flute, and when you start to see sparks coming down, that helps me tell if I'm really on that bevel.
Right.
Yeah.
So then, you know, I'm really doing a light, you know, if you're in there, you're gonna start getting that hook, you know, that fish hook. So I look for those sparks, and if I can see them all the way around with just a light rotation, I know I'm there and I'm not buggering up my grind. Because you can, with that jig, you can
Still
go.
do it, yeah.
And I don't, you know, I tend to have a little bit more of a concave on there. So when I'm grinding, I focus on the tip, and then I focus on the backside, and, you know, the middle part takes care of itself, basically.
If you watch the tip, the cutting edge, you will see an edge reform. Now the lighting here is really bad, but I can see that as I do that. Go ahead, Tom.
And then, I think I have one of the deeper flutes, and my grind, and I don't know the reason, is pretty steep on the sides. And with that more point, you can, when you're hollowing a bowl out, I can come in almost vertical on the side, right? So I'm coming in like after I've gotten started. and then I just rotate around as you're coming in.
As-
And you have that little point, you can get down into the bottom easier without having that, right in the bevel.
And Tom brought up a good point. When you're doing hollowing, now I had mentioned when you get started on that hole to close the flute. And then you're gonna start your cut, you're gonna open the flute, okay? But as you go towards the center, to keep the angle at 45 degrees, you've gotta rotate it over, or it just won't cut. And as you do that, you're starting in a stance like this, you're closed, you're open, and then as you go in, you want to raise your right hand and move in. It just comes natural. You know, Tom's been doing this for 40 years. This is all second nature, and once you start to get some success at this, your muscle memory kicks in. Adam? Oh, okay.
Good.
Knocking the bugs off your head?
Yeah.
And, just use Jeff's here as an example. But you realize that I copied your shapes just recently. So I actually hollow, I just did a hollowing like this with the bolt gun. And I can come in there and, I'm riding that pretty steep. I can go all the way down. Now when I get to the bottom, it's a little iffy because that bevel isn't right anymore. So you're gonna get a catch when you get down there, even if you start rolling over, it's gonna wanna catch at the bottom. And so the way to get around that is just go to the middle, plane, and then come back from the center out.
Center out.
Center out, right? And then you just bring it up to the street. Right?
More questions?
I'm just gonna say.
Yes, sir.
You take your blades out of that handle to sharpen them, or you?
No, I do not. I noticed Johannes did. At times, it seems easier, especially on this 20-incher that's so heavy. It tends to want to move around on me, but no, I do not. I do not.
I was just gonna say, when you work from the center out, you gotta be real careful, because that wing can touch,
Yes.
and when it touches, you got a massive catch.
If you don't roll your flute,
Yeah.
that wing, if I'm at noon and I'm going straight in, and I'm on a bowl, and it's got this curve here, when this hits, it's deadly. I'm just telling you, it's across the room.
You better.
You have to close your flute.
Yeah, when that goes with your flute straight up, yeah, you're gonna lose everything. If you rolled over, you can.
Yeah.
Design opportunity. That's good.
Other questions? George?
It's not a question, but we're going back to dressing the wheel. Most people, when they dress a wheel, they just hold the dresser up against the wheel and whack it off. What happens when you do that is your wheel becomes out of round and bumpy. You almost have to have something down there to ride on the bottom of your rest there to hold it in place. And if you're good enough, you can use your finger or thumb or something.
Yeah.
But if not, you need to clamp something on there. Otherwise, your wheel's gonna be out around and it's gonna be bumpy. It'll be sharp, but it'll be bumpy. And if it gets too far out, your grinder wants to jump across the road.
The CBN wheels have come way down in price. Mine's out of Austria. It was one of the first to come out. They were $390 at the time. Again, it was a gift. If you can afford them now, what did the club have them for? One?
Well, you can get them as low as about 1 1/4.
Yeah. It is money well spent. There are different types of CBN wheels. I have a flat CBN wheel, 1 inch wide, but on the side of mine, there's also the diamond. So I use that for my parting tool. Many of them that are out now have a curved corner, and they're hollow. It's like a webbing, and it's hollow. It's easy to slide off that curved surface, but there's a reason to have it, because you can also take a detail gouge or a smaller gouge, and you can run along the side and get a real nice edge on a shallow flute, which I cannot do on mine. I've got to do it from the center and then run it across it. Comments?
If anybody wants any information on the CBN wheels that we ordered, I can hook you up with the contacts, websites and stuff.
To me, I think they're worth owning. I would like to have another one that's about 300 or 400 grit, because you really want to polish these things, is what you're doing. You're just putting an edge on them.
Sharper the
Do
better.
you hone with a leather hone at all?
No, I do not. I do not.
On that Maddie piece, is that, where did you get that? Is there a website or?
Yeah,
something
and I have here
we can put it
all of my notes, and we'll go through these notes again next month when we set up the lathe and we start cutting, and we'll actually make shavings and coach you on the usage of this where it's hands-on. I'll make this available and send it off in a PDF file.
Great, and we'll stick it in the newsletter.
Yeah, Alan Batty probably does the greatest presentation on tools of anybody in the industry. His father just passed. His father was a professional wood turner. Alan took up several years with his father and started turning again. But his presentation is just spectacular. If you're looking for good YouTube videos, the AAW has now started approving videos. Much of what you see on YouTube is terrible information. Okay, just be honest with you. I can't believe some of these people aren't getting killed doing what they're doing. And one of the benefits of the AAW is this approved video list. It's listed on the website. How many of you here are members of the AAW? Wow. Pretty impressive. If you're not a member, they also have a guest membership now. And I believe you can sign on, log on, and you're good for 90 days. It's something worth looking at. You can see the benefits of it. There are forums, there's instant galleries, there's a great deal of information. The best is the videos, yes.
Do you know, is the 90 days, is that free?
That's free.
Good.
That's
Good for
free.
them. Yeah.
That's a guest freebie. And it gives you a chance to go in and see what the organization's all about. We are still hopefully on the hit list, or I guess it's what, maybe 2019 to host it here. And I hope to learn more about that soon. Any other questions?
I have a quick one.
Terry?
How do you spell Alan, what's the Hattie's name, or?
Stuart Batty.
Stewart.
B-A-T-T-Y.
Is he on YouTube?
He's on YouTube, and I'm not sure all of his videos are on YouTube. Some of them are on Vimeo, and I think the AAW ones may be Vimeo. But I can send you a link to those. I'm sorry, Steve.
Is he the Limey? The English fellow?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yeah.
I had a quick question. You mentioned we're going to make shavings next month.
Yeah.
Should everybody bring their own safety gear?
Yeah, probably. You know, I've got 4 or 5 face shields. I can bring those. But bring your safety gear, bring your bowl gouges. If they're not sharp, we'll have somebody at a sharpening station to sharpen them. And then we'll get you started. We'll use all 6 lathes, and we'll line them up, and everybody will make a few cuts, and we'll keep going through the different types of cuts. And the grips. I didn't cover the grips. Depends on the piece. With the 20-inch bowl gouge, I'm going to use an overhand grip. It's going to be like this. If I'm doing the 3/8-inch bowl gouge, I'm sliding my finger and holding the thumb against the bowl gouge. Okay? Because it's a more delicate cut. But those are the kind of things, once you get above the lathe, you'll understand it. When we set up the lathe, try and get a lathe that is elbow high. Okay? Because you cannot get the angle you need to make some of the cuts if I'm put up here like this. And where's Daryl? Daryl knows the situation. Daryl's what, you're 7 foot? Yeah. Okay. He was on a lathe that the retreat was, the lathe was down here, and he's way up like this trying to do this thing. It is so important that the lathe be at the right height for fatigue and for proper cutting. Okay. So when we set up next week, or next month, we've got these at various heights. So I don't want to see, you know, one of the smaller women at a lathe that's put up here. It won't work, okay? Anything else? That's it?
Well, I brought a second grinder.
Second grinder?
I'll go get my jig.
Okay.
We got a couple of more.
Those of you that want your tools ground and shortened, we can do that now.
Shortened? Yeah. They'll be shorter.
Based on what I've seen, they'll be shortened.